This is America's most secure prison, designed to hold the nation's highest risk criminals. The prisoners spend 23 hours a day in a 2x4 meter cells, isolated from outside world and kept in complete solitude. All meals are delivered through a narrow slot in the solid steel door, often the only point of human contact during the day. The prison is located in Florence, Colorado, where escape is considered virtually impossible. As of December 20, 2024, it housed 340 inmates, each assigned to one of 6 security levels. Among the prisoners is El Chapo, the most infamous cartel boss in modern times, serving a life sentence alongside terrorists, mass murderers, and those who have committed the most serious federal crimes. Before arriving in ADX Florence, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman has escaped from Mexican prisons twice, in 2001 and 2015. Now, he faces a facility engineered specifically to prevent the kind of prison breaks that made him legendary. His first escape in 2001 involved a laundry cart and a bribed prison staff. He had spent years building influence inside the prison, slowly paying off guards and administrators until the conditions were just right to disappear unnoticed. The second escape in 2015 was even more elaborate. El Chapo escaped through a tunnel that was dug directly beneath his cell, opening under the shower floor. He climbed down a ladder and traveled through the mile-long tunnel on the motorcycle that had been specifically adapted to run on rails. It was an operation that involved months of planning, millions of dollars, and deep institutional corruption. El Chapo is just one of several high-profile inmates serving life sentences at ADX Florence. Other known inmates include Ramzi Youssef, the mastermind of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, and Ted Kaczynski, known as the Unabomber, who carried out a bombing campaign from 1978 to 1995, targeting universities, airlines, and businesses. He killed 3 people and injured 23 others using homemade explosives sent by mail. Concentrating the most dangerous criminals in one place carries obvious risks, but since ADX Florence opening in 1994, no inmate has ever escaped. The facility has succeeded in its goal established in the 1970s when the federal prison system struggled with inmates who were too violent, too influential, or too likely to escape even from maximum security prisons. There was an urgent need for a place to contain inmates with absolutely no concern for human life. ADX Florence was designed by 2 architecture firms in Colorado Springs and cost $60 million to build. Often referred to as the Alcatraz of Rockies due to its extreme security and remote location, a modern equivalent to the famous Alcatraz prison. Every aspect of the facility was engineered with one goal in mind: to contain criminals in complete isolation while preventing any possibility of escape. Construction began in the early 1990s and the facility opened in 1994. From the beginning, it was clear that this would be unlike any other prison in America. The location was carefully selected. A remote region, difficult to access and already home to several federal facilities. The exterior walls are designed to withstand explosives attacks and natural disasters. Every section of the prison is under constant surveillance by motion sensors, high-resolution cameras, and guard towers. Inside, inmates are placed in one of several housing units depending on their risk level. The most dangerous are sent to Range 13, a 4-cell isolation wing with the tightest controls in the entire prison. Here, inmates live in near-total isolation with minimal interaction even with staff. Correctional officers at ADX Florence are specially trained and follow strict protocols. They rarely enter cells directly. Most communication and procedures are carried out remotely or through physical barriers, and any in-person contact is done with backup and strict security rules in place. A day at ADX Florence begins at 6 AM when the lights switch on automatically. Meals are delivered through a slot in the cell door. There is no cafeteria and no direct contact with other inmates. Each prisoner stays in their cell for 23 hours a day. The cells are made entirely of concrete and contain basic furniture: a bed, a desk, and a small television. The TV is black and white, secured behind protective glass and limited to pre-approved, recorded content. A narrow, 4-inch window lets in some natural light, but is angled to prevent a full view of the outside. Inmates are allowed 1 hour of recreation time per day, typically spent in a small concrete yard about the size of a parking space. They are escorted there in handcuffs, and this space offers little in the way of relief. It's open to the sky, but walled off so high that only a patch of it is visible. There is no gym, no equipment, and no social interaction. Just an hour to walk in a slightly larger concrete cell. ADX Florence has been the subject of criticism from human rights groups and legal organizations. Concerns include the long-term effects of solitary confinement and limited access to medical and mental health care. Some legal experts say the extreme isolation violates the Constitution's ban on cruel and unusual punishment. Supporters of the prison, however, argue that its strict conditions are necessary. Many of the inmates at ADX have histories of organizing violence, escapes, or ongoing criminal activity, even from within the prison. The goal of the facility is to minimize those risks through highly controlled confinement. One of the former wardens said,
"As soon as they come through the door, you can see it in their faces. That's when it really hits you. You're looking at the beauty of Rocky Mountains in the backdrop. When you get inside, that is the last time you will ever see it. The Supermax is life after death."
ADX Florence isn't built around traditional punishment. Instead of physical force, it relies on control and isolation. The same routine, every day, under constant supervision.